2025 Rap Vinyl Tag. Let's go. All right. Welcome back to June's Music Corner. Thank you for joining me. If this is your first time, I appreciate you for stopping by. Go ahead and stick around. All right. So, 2025 Rap Vinyl Tag. Daryl D has called me out, and I am up for the challenge. Let's do this. Yo, when I saw Daryl D posted a new Rap Vinyl Tag, I was super happy, yo. I was going through some things that night, and I saw the video pop up, and it instantly lifted my mood because a lot of people don't like these vinyl tags. I, for one, love them. And when it comes to a rap vinyl tag, I'm all in, man. So, Daryl D put the challenge out. There's 20 questions. I'm going to do my best to answer them all. And without further ado, let's get into this final tag. All right. So question number 1. What is the second rap record that you ever bought? Now, you know, in the 80s, I did not collect vinyl. I was a young guy. I was into cassettes. But the album that I did get was the man, Slick Rick, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick. Still to this day, one of my favorite records. And I can listen to this front to back, in-house, out-house, all day, every day, in the car, on the beach, wherever. Legendary artist, legendary album, one of the best debuts. Well, we got to think about that year. So many classics came out that year. But Ricky D is my guy. And this was a record that I could listen to, an album I could listen to without my parents tripping or anything, because I was so young at the time. So that's going to be my number 1. Slick Rick, Great Adventures of Slick Rick, the classic. All right, question number 2. Show one of your favorite rap soundtracks. Now, they already talked about how you're dealing with soundtracks. There's always a mixture, because in a movie you're gonna have different moods, different feelings. So you might have some rap music, you might have some R&B or whatever, even some instrumentation in there. Now, the first soundtrack I went with would have been "Don't Be a Menace," which has some heat on it, and it was good, but there was a little too many R&B tracks, so I was like, all right, he wants us to find a basically strictly rap soundtrack. So for that one, I had to go with the LA Original soundtrack. I have not seen this doc. I know it's about Mr. Cartoon and LA culture. But this is a strictly rap music soundtrack. All right, you got Slick Rick, Children's Story, Public Enemy, Fight the Power, 50 Cent, Disco Inferno, Eric B. and Rakim, Juice, Know the Ledge, Young MC, Bust the Move, Snoop Dogg, Gin and Juice, Cypress Hill, Hand on the Pump, Mobb Deep, Shook Ones Part 1, Gangstar, Mass Appeal, Method Man, Redman, The Rockwilder, Terror Squad, Lean Back, and Onyx Slam. So this is a strictly rap music soundtrack. And this will be my answer for that one. LA Originals, keeping it hip hop for real. All right, number 3. What is the last rap record that you purchased? Now, this is not technically the last rap record I purchased because I purchased it back in February, but I did just receive it. It was a pre-order, and that's going to be Cube's last project, Man Down. This is the autograph copy that they're selling, and this is the last rap record that I purchased, that I received. My last record I purchased is still in the possession of the USPS and hopefully safely on its way to me. But this is the last one I got. This is Cube's Man Down. Vinyl has just shipped, and I finally got my copy. This is Cube's 11th album, and it's dope. So if you haven't heard it, go check it out and support the man. Shout out Ice Cube. Let's keep it moving. All right, number 4. Show a record from an underrated rap group. And for that, I went with one of my favorite groups, The Coup. This is Kill My Landlord. This was their first album. From the Bay, you got Boots Riley, you got E-Rock, and you got Pam the Funkstress. Rest in peace. She was the DJ. E-Rock rhymes. Boots is kind of the lead. He does most of the rapping. Very underrated to me, and it may be due to their views, but they make some great music, and it's not the run-of-the-mill stuff that you hear. The first time I heard this group, they immediately stood out. It was on an old episode of Rap City. I want to say this was 93. Yeah, 1993. Underrated. Boots never fails to impress me with his subject matter, with his lyrics. And in the words of Boots, we don't make no damn Mickey Mouse music, you know what I mean? So this is going to be my most underrated group. I wish they got more shine than they did. But they put out great music, and they put out a few albums. Boots has gone on to do other things like film. So that's my pick, The Coup. Shout out. All right, number 5. Show one of your favorite rap album covers and explain why. That would be NWA's EP 100 Miles and Running. Again, 80s. I did not have this on vinyl. Somehow I ended up with the cassette tape. And seeing the cassette tape, or seeing the artwork, to me, that's exactly what it was. It was artwork. I guess somebody drew this, and since forever I've been into art, and I used to draw as a kid, or all my life. I don't draw as much as I used to, but I still respect it. And this cover always stuck with me because I thought it was dope, and I was like, whoever drew this can really, really draw. And to me, still, it is a dope album cover that has stuck with me since I was a child. And this album, it was kind of my intro to NWA. Like I say, this came out, I want to say, what was this, 90? And I had heard songs from Straight Outta Compton, but with all that controversy, there was no way that I was getting away with playing NWA in the house. But when this album came around, it wasn't as loud, I'll say, as that first album. And I believe I had my Walkman by then, so I could play it as I pleased. But forever I always thought the artist that did this was incredible, and the album cover has always stuck in my mind. So I'm going with 100 Miles and Running, NWA. All right. So number 6, show a 7-inch record by a female MC or group. Again, I don't have that many 7-inch records. The majority of my 45s are reggae and dancehall, but I am able to get this one. And for that, I chose Mystic. And this is the Life remix and Girlfriend Sister Girl remix. This actually came with her album, Cuts for Luck and Scars for Freedom. And Mystic is a dope female MC. Underrated and should have more shine than she does. Just like a lot of There's a lot of female MCs out there that deserve more shine than they get. Positivity, dope lyrics, beautiful sister. Shout out Mystic. Number 7, show a valuable rap record that you got for $1. You got me there. I do dig the dollar bin. There's not many valuable records that I've found in there, but I'll go with one that I found super cheap. That's gonna be Tom Ski Mask. This is Too Wild for the World, presented by DJ Squeaky. This is an older album. I bought this CD back in the day. Remember, back in the day, the source was articles, it was photos, but a lot of it was advertisements for records to come and da-da-da-da-da. In one of the source magazines, I saw an ad for this record. Just like I would see many records. There was no social media and all that to promote stuff. No streaming, of course. So when I would go to the record store, which was every week, I'm digging. And this was my CD days. And if I didn't have something that I was actually going for specifically, I would dig. And if something caught my eye, I would pick it up. So one day, there's not a specific record or a CD that I'm going for, but I'm digging through and I see this record, Tom Ski Mask, Too Wild for the World. And he had a spot in the Source magazine, and I picked it up. I didn't have anything else to buy that day or that I was looking for, so I would give it a chance, as I usually did. And I dug a lot of underground artists, or found a lot of underground artists, and Tom Ski Mask was one of those guys. Anyway, a little while ago, I found this record on Discogs, and I bought it because I had dug it for $10. Now, when I bought the CD back in the days, I had no clue. Tom Ski Mask, he's from Memphis, Tennessee. DJ Squeaky, big DJ producer from Memphis. And first time I put the CD in, the first track that played, I was like, all right, like, you got one, like, you know. So I was super happy that I had bought it. That CD was in the car when my car got broke into and my CD book got stole. There's a video about that on my channel. But anyway, so I see this I see this record, and it's a female. She wants $10 for it. She has some other records to sell as well, and I got those pretty cheap as well. There weren't many for sale. They may have been three of these for sale, and $10 was the cheapest one, but they were no more than $15, $20 at best, and I don't think they were that. I don't really remember. But when it came time for me to clean this record and sleeve it and all, and log it into my Discogs, my mind was blown, because there were many more listed, and the price was, the cheapest one was still over $100. And I'm like what happened? And there was a reissue of this album a few years ago. I didn't know, but this is a promo. This is original promo. And so this is my choice. It wasn't $1. I paid $10 for it, but now it's listed from $100 to $300, yo. And I don't believe any of them are in the US for sale. So shout out DJ Squeaky. Shout out Tom Ski Mask. Too Wild for the World. All right, number 8. Highlight a story rap record and explain the story. And you cannot use Slick Rick. That would have been cheating for real, though. All right, so for that one, we go back to the coup. This is still this album. Again, we got Boots Riley, Pam the Funkstress. The story I'm going to go with is me and Jesus the Pimp in a 79 Granada last night. All right. Boots tells this story. Where the story came from, I don't know. I know there's some underlying like messages in it. But the story is about a little boy whose mother is a streetwalker, and she has a pimp named Jesus. His real name is Jesus, but his pimp name is Jesus. And she's raising this boy. She's all he has. He's all she has. And then there's the pimp. Well, one morning when she comes in from work and she pays the rent before she gives up her money, Jesus the pimp is not having that. He whoops on her. He eventually takes her out. And the boy is 9 at the time, so he loses his mother. Jesus eventually goes to jail, not for that, but for some other body that he caught. And the boy reaches out through mail and tells him he wants to be a pimp. And at first he's using it like he wants to set him up. He wants justice for his mama and revenge. But being that Jesus is the only connection that he still has, I guess, to his mother, and pimps talk, he draws him into that life. And he's running around, as he says, like a little baby Jesus. Anyway, 15 years go by. Jesus gets out of jail. They link back up, and Jesus is kind of his dad. He says he's his dad, but I'm not sure he was his biological father, but he could have been. Anyway, they're close. They're kicking it. They're riding. He's supposed to be taking Jesus to a specific place. He ends up taking him somewhere else, and he gets revenge or justice for his mother. Now that song is 7+ minutes long, and Boots vividly details this story. It's a great song. It's a crazy story, but it's a great song. It shows his skill as a writer and his ability to tell these stories. And there's a video for it as well. Of course, it's cut short because the original song is over 7 minutes. But Roger Guinevere Smith, from a lot of movies, a lot of Spike Lee joints, he plays Jesus the Pimp in this video. And there is also another song on this album called Breathing Apparatus, which is a story. In that story, Boots gets shot and everybody's flipping. E-Rock is on this song. He's not featured on the cover, but E-Rock is on this song, and he goes to the hospital. And of course, everybody wants to know who did this, who shot Boots, and like what's really going on and all. And Boots is telling the story from the hospital bed with all the tubes and all the doctors and everybody around him. And his main concern is, do not let them mess with my breathing apparatus because I do not have insurance and all that. Anyway, it's also a great story. So for my story, I choose The Coup and Boots Riley. A little side note. I speak on how Boots has this ability to tell stories. There was a movie not too long ago that came out called Sorry to Bother You. That was Boots' movie. The Coup's last album was actually called Sorry to Bother You, which had nothing to do with the film. But when I've heard that the film was coming out, I was familiar with the Sorry to Bother You album. And so I was expecting a movie based on that album. But it wasn't. And when they put the soundtrack out for the film, they had to go back and title it, this is the real soundtrack for the film, titled by an album, something like that. I'll put a little picture up there. But they had to differentiate the album soundtrack versus the album with the same name. But anyway, shout out Boots Riley again. R.I.P. Pam the Funksters. Great album. Number 9. Show one of your favorite bootleg albums. I got a few. But if you've seen any of my videos, you will know that my favorite bootleg album that I own is going to be Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped. I don't need to say too much about this album. I just did a video on this album because not too long ago I got myself an OG copy of this album, which was on my Grail list. But this Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped, great album, one of my favorites. And this is a bootleg from Europe because Europe does the best bootlegs, or I don't know if they're not as strict as they would be here with someone pressing up and distributing bootleg records of copyrighted music. But anyway, Ghetto Boys, We Can't Be Stopped. Classic. All right, number 10. Show a rap record and the original record it was sampled from. And for that one, we're going to the West Coast with Nipsey Hussle. And the track or song I'm talking about is Blue Laces 2. And in that song, which is a great song, by the way, and it's also a story song. I believe that one was true. But in that song, they sampled Willie Hutch, Give Me Some of That Good Old Love from the Foxy Brown soundtrack. Great sample. Nipsey complements that beat, and they work very well together. But that's what I'm going with. Nipsey Hussle's Blue Laces 2 with Willie Hutch's Give Me Some of That Good Old Love from the Foxy Brown soundtrack. Both dope. Can't lose either way. All right, number 11. Show a record by an artist or a group whose name starts with X, Y, or Z, and you cannot use X Clan and you cannot use Xzibit because that would be cheating. All right, I won't go with any X's. The artist I chose did use the other 2 letters though. I know it'd be YZ, and this is Sons of the Father, his debut album. And to me, it's a great album. All right, what year was this? This was 1990. All right. When I was young, I lived in Germany, and there was one television station that was the AFN station, American Family Network. So we lived on VHS and Laserdisc, Betamax, whatever back then. My family in the States, they would send us VHS tapes with music videos on them and TV programming from here. That was like how I saw like the Kid and Play cartoon and stuff like that. But there would be videos. There would be Video Soul videos. And YZ has a song called Tower with the Power. And when I first heard that song and saw the video, but the music, I fell in love with it. Tower with the Power, I would rewind and play it and rewind and play it and bring my little radio to the TV and record it onto a tape so I could listen to it. Great song. I guess this could have been used for the last question as well, the song and the original, because this samples George Benson's Breezin', which I think makes it so great. But there are other great songs on this album. I was lucky to find this. I did have this cassette in the 90s from digging, and somehow one day I found it in a store called Tape World, and I had it on tape. Don't know where that is now, but I was lucky to find this in the shape that it's in, and I didn't get my head bust with the price over it either. But thinking of a master plan was a big one. and Tower with the Power, one of my favorites. So I chose YZ. YZ did have another album, I'm gonna say Return of the Holy One, and he had the song The Ghetto's Been Good to Me so far, which was also on Too Short's Getting It towards the end. So far, Ghetto's Been Good to Me, and that's what I chose. So no X's, but we do got Y and Z. Shout out YZ. All right, number 12. Show a rap record in your collection about God. I went with Scarface, The Fix, and the song specifically that I'm talking about is a song called Someday, featuring Faith Evans. And Scarface speaks about his relationship with God and what he believes. And Faith Evans, she does the hook and sings on that. But top 5 Dead or Alive, Scarface. That is my choice for a record about God. Shout out Scarface. All right, 13. Show a live rap album. I want to say this is the only one that I have. I have showed this record before, but this is Tupac or Death Row Live at the House of Blues. This was Tupac's official last concert before he was gone. But this also features Snoop Dogg, Dogg Pound, Outlaws, Nate Dogg, Casey and JoJo. And it was a pretty big show. They put the DVD out of this show, and I believe it's available to watch on YouTube. But this is my choice for live rap record. So R.I.P. Tupac, R.I.P. Nate Dogg. All right, 14. What is the first rap 45 that you ever bought? I know I'm just making excuses when I say I don't buy. I don't have a lot of rap 45s. But the first one that I did buy is Eazy's Merry M&F Christmas with the B-side, Brothers My Height Don't Fight. This was a Record Store Day release. I didn't buy it on Record Store Day. I bought it secondhand from somebody. It is still sealed. But this was the first 45 that I ever bought. And I bought it strictly to add to the collection, to my Eazy-E collection. So R.I.P. Eazy. And Merry M&F Christmas to y'all. All right, number 15. Show a record from an underrated MC. For that, I went with P.D. Pablo. Now, when I first heard P.D. Pablo, all right, Mystical had an album called Let's Get Ready. When as he had left No Limit, he was strictly a jive artist. And in that CD, there was a bonus CD. And that bonus CD had some samples of some of the other artists that were on jive. One of those artists was P.D. Pablo. Now that song, the song was crazy. All right, I'm in South Carolina now, but the majority of my family is in North Carolina. So that song came out representing North Carolina to the fullest, and it was super hard. So when this album finally came around and I heard it, I was thoroughly impressed because not only was he representing North Carolina, but he had skills. This was, I believe it was strictly produced by Timbaland. I'm not sure. But he impressed me with this album because it was different than what a lot of people in the South were doing. And he even talks about it in the album that, like, I can make songs without saying this or this and that. And, like I can rhyme. I can really, really rhyme. I don't know if some of the choices that P.D. Pablo made after this album interfered. And I won't say I don't know, because ultimately it had to affect his career to where he did have another big hit after this with the Freak Elite. But I give that to, of course, he brought it on the song, but it also had the same beat as Usher's Yeah. So that was easy to put on in the club. And it was a club joint. But there are gems on this album. And I dig it. And I think he's underrated. I think Petey Pablo can spit his head off. So shout out Petey Pablo, North Carolina. Stand up. All right, 16. Show a record that features a whack remix. This one was a little difficult as well, because you don't want to just diss people. So the whack remix that I'm going to refer to is it's on this album. This is Ice Cube's Bootlegs and B-Sides. This is a lot of remixes, some B-sides, and some unreleased joints that hadn't come out. And the song I'm talking about is When I Get to Heaven, which was originally on the Lethal Injection album. And it's a great song on this album. And so I don't want to call the remix whack, but hearing the original version and then hearing the remix, I would never choose to hear the remix over the original. And so that's going to be my answer for that one. When I Get to Heaven remix by Ice Cube from the Bootlegs and B-Sides. This was a dope project though. There's also it was a Good Day remix and some other joints on this. But that's my choice. When I Get to Heaven remix as the whack remix. All right, number 17. Show a rap 45 picture disc. It says 45 in the list of questions in the description, but in Daryl video, he just says show a rap picture disc. So I'm gonna do that because there's no way I can show a rap 45 picture disc. And the picture disc I'm going with is Brad Jordan, Scarface. And this is the Deeply Rooted album. This was a Record Store Day album. I wish it wasn't a picture disc. That is side one. But Deeply Rooted. If you know me, you know I rock with the Ghetto Boys heavy. I rock with Scarface super heavy. And this was a great album. Again, I wish they had just pressed it on regular vinyl. And another gripe about this record is it is not the full album. Shame on y'all. But this is the picture disc I chose. Deeply Rooted by Scarface. If you have never heard this album, do yourself a favor and check it out. Shout out Scarface. All right, number 18. Show one of the rarest rap 45s in your collection. I had to pull this off the wall in the back. But that's going to be Tribe's Scenario 45. It was given to me by Get On Down. And it took me forever to find which pressing or whatever, where this came from. But it came out of a Tribe box set. And this is Scenario. So this is going to be my rarest rap 45. I've got Low End Theory, so I had to put this up, hang it on the wall. Shout out Tribe. Here we go, yo. All right, number 19. Show a record that you received as a gift. We're going back to this record that I just showed. Ice Cube's Lethal Injection. My wife got me this record for my birthday a few years ago because I didn't have it. And probably would have been harder to find me something else, but she knew I didn't have this one, and she got it for me. Shout out Ice Cube. All right, it seems as we made it to the end. Number 20. Mention a rap record that you would like to add to your collection that you don't have. For that, I'm going to have to go with the Coup. I know I've been speaking on the Coup and Boots Riley, but I would love a vinyl copy of their album, Pick a Bigger Weapon. There are some copies available, but they are sky high. I think the cheapest one right now is sitting at $203. And at this moment, I can't pay that. But that's going to do it for me, man. If you haven't, please subscribe, hit that like button, man. Share this out if you want. If you collect rap vinyl records, take a stab at this tag, man. Let's see what you got. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.